My hair. I've got to do something with it. Well, really, I know I'm going to wash it on Saturday, but I just look rough. That's how I feel. I look like I'm just rough looking right now. I don't know what to do. And I do know what to do, but actually I'm just being lazy. You know, like, I don't know, for some reason, I have weird thoughts. And when I think, sometimes it's like certain parts of America, I just can't imagine black people living in. Like, Utah. And I know some of y'all are out there in Utah, and I'm not trying to insult you or anything, but I'm just saying, I think of Utah, I think of a Mormon state. Mormon, I think of white people, and just to say, I just can't imagine black people being out there. You know, we got black Mormons, so it just let me roll with my thought. And like, I don't know, I guess like Iowa and all that stuff. It just seems so weird. Maine and Vermont, but I'm not an ignorant person, so I know that there's just like, it just seems like an odd place to be. But I guess after the Civil War is why we're so spread out. Well, I guess I would have wanted to leave the South as well if I grew up in that time era. But in the 70s and like to anyone, it's just, it didn't grow on me. It didn't vibe with me, and I wasn't feeling it. But I know like after the Civil War, quite a few must have moved up that to like way out place. I guess they figured life would be better. And like one of the places some of us ended up in is actually in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And because of the oil fields, there were plenty of job opportunities. And then around 1908, the blacks that were in Tulsa, Oklahoma formed their own community. And it was about the size of 35 city blocks. It was a nice sized community. And because it was in 1908, and because at the time Tulsa was racially segregated, they had to have their own community. They had to have an area where only blacks could go. But this community, it was an amazing community. They were like, it was very influential blacks there. A lot of them had money. They were educated and everything. I mean, this little community had their own newspaper that was owned by black people. And it was called the Daily Tulsa Star. They even had school systems that were excellent. But money's the root of all evil. And jealousy and deceit, they don't play nice with it. And eventually, this little part of Tulsa, Greenwood, that was also known as the Black Wall Street, that's how much influence this small community had. They were actually known as the Black Wall Street. Well, like I was getting to, it was eventually burned to the ground. And all of this, the reason that it was burned to the ground was because a young black man, I think his name was Dick Rowland, like Kelly Rowland. Dick Rowland, he was a shoe shine. And I guess he had to use the bathroom. And he went into a building, and I think it was a racially segregated building too. Of course, everything was, so you would expect it to be. But I think he had permission to use the bathroom in that building that was on the top floor. And as the story goes, he was going to get on the elevator in the building. And the elevator was operated by a young white lady whose name was Sarah Page. I'm not really sure how the story goes or what actually happened, because I definitely wasn't there. But from what I read and what I learned was that he was getting on the elevator, and I guess he was rushing, and I heard like two different stories. I heard that he was rushing to get on the elevator and he tripped and fell into her, and I heard that, you know, she was operating the elevator, so obviously he probably shouldn't have been there or was not supposed to be there, because he was black, she was white, it was a white elevator, he had to get on a color elevator or walk up the stairs, hey, whatever. But anyway, both those stories have in common is that he brushed up against her or he fell on her and she screamed. Someone heard her scream, assumed she had been assaulted. The police investigated, but no one's really sure what was said to the police because there are no records. But then, of course, according to the papers, when the story got out, Supposedly he tried to rape her. That's how the story goes, which caused everybody to get up in arms. They arrested the young man, threw him in jail. They wanted to lynch him. The white mob was calling to lynch him. The blacks were trying to protect him. And after a while, things just got so out of control that the white people eventually just burnt that town to the ground. And the community was never rebuilt. And it was a very important part of history that we lost. And to this day, not many people know about it. So that's a little fact I just wanted to share. And you can look it up on the net. Just type in the Black Wall Street. And if I don't forget, I'll put a few links right over there. Right over here. I mean, just can't. If I got my story out correctly, I just wanted to share that. Good night.